Hey, we're live.
What's up, guys? June 30th. We're like halfway-ish through the year and plus. That's kind of insane how fast this one's going by. Excited to
Yeah.
uh excited to be here. Good to see
Yeah,
everyone. We've got an exciting town hall agenda. Um, bunch of
Ben's not.
things coming up.
Uh, Ben's in Japan right now. He just spoke at the IVS conference, so it's very late for him. So he will not be joining this one. He's actually meeting up with our Japanese community tomorrow in Osaka. So
Oh, that's
that's
true. Japanese community meetup tomorrow. If you don't have the information on you want to attend, check the server and reach out to Japanese mod to get more details on that one. But yeah, some of you probably were at IVS as well, where Ben was on a panel with Axie and a few other big games. Um, yeah, really exciting times. So, without further ado, let's jump on in it. We've got an exciting town hall today. Thank you all, as always, for being here, for being the most important part of the Genoverse, for helping us push forward and grow the community and grow the game and be along for the ride through interesting times in the wider market. We've got 5 habitats up for grabs this town hall. I think habitat specifically was an interesting choice for the giveaway this time. We don't usually give away a lot of habitats, but today is all about seasons. So we'll be talking about that soon. We have a few exciting updates, the concepts behind all of them and what's going on there. Stay tuned to the end. Obviously, when we get to Q&A, the first 5 questions that we answer will be the habitat winners. We'll pick one person from the Twitter post, and then we'll pick 4 other ones from those that have been dropping in Discord. We have been recording all the questions, the good ones anyway, from the start of when we open the Town Hall Questions channel. So we'll definitely be taking a look there to pick winners. Cool. So without further ado, what is up next? In the agenda, we've got just the intro. We're going to talk about version 7.0.7.1. Our progress, obviously, on the road to market. We're shipping new releases every couple of weeks. You guys have been seeing that happen. Thank you for testing out and checking out all the new features. We'll be talking about seasons. Kevin will give us an update on what that concept is and all the crafting magic in store. Albert's got a dev update talking about the things that we've been working on and what the next roadmaps look like and our progress to road to market. And then, of course, we will close with Q&A. So first up, 0.71. 0.7.1, our next big release. You guys just saw, mood factor and a few other things turn on in 0.7. 0.7.1 is all about achievements and badges. We're bringing in, the concept of consistency. You all know banking steps every day is one of the key ways to get ahead in the game. But with 0.71, there'll be now shiny badges and achievements to achieve in doing so. We've got milestones like participation trophies. Of course, everyone gets that one just in the beginning. We all know everyone wants to win, all the way rising up to the first million steps that someone will bank. We've also got streaks, of course, consistently banking your steps and banking your steps more and more over time. With this launch, or with this release, we're holding a competition, the Step Up Your Game competition. The first Genovian to achieve the first million is the hardest badge, i.e. banking 1,000,000 steps, is going to win a Genesis habitat. You'll see how this works in the app. You'll see your badges start to unlock. And in fact, you'll see that happening in the app, and you'll see kind of how the progress works from there. We'll also be giving out a limited edition summer toy to everyone who achieves the Persistence is a Virtue badge in the next 10 days. The next big thing, obviously there's a few other things in this release, but the next big thing I've been super excited for is Bitcoin babies landing in the game. These are the ordinal Genopets that we launched a few months ago, working very closely with the Xverse team on getting this working. Xverse is the only wallet that does support ordinals. Support ordinals in an actual game. So some of the specific functionality you need out of a wallet, the things that we can get out of Phantom, obviously, Xverse has been a great partner to work with to get that going. I'll actually be joining the Ordinals show on Monday. If you want to check out Xverse's Twitter, you can see more about it there. But on the Ordinal show Monday, we'll be talking about being the first game to integrate ordinals, ordinal utility coming soon. You'll be able to see it in the game as soon as you upgrade to 0.7.1. This is what it's looking like. I actually just a sneak preview here from when we were testing. But of course, you can evolve, upgrade, customize, augment all the things with your ordinal Genopet in the way that you've done with your regular Genopets or your Solana Genopets as well. With that, 0.7.1 is available today on Android. You can download it now. It is still probably propagating through the stores. If you don't see it, just give it a minute. iOS is pending store approval, so you will see it hopefully in the next 24 or 48 hours. Know that it's been submitted and we're waiting on Apple to do their thing. But we will have iOS and Android 0.7.1 available for everyone in the pending hours, hopefully days at most for the iOS team. That said, really important, because I know you're all thinking, but wait, my million steps. On the back end, everyone's achievement progress is being tracked already. We actually just, reset and turn that on this morning. So anyone, regardless of upgrading the app or not, is tracking their progress towards their achievements right now. So when you upgrade, you may see that some of your achievements have already been unlocked, given the amount of steps you've banked or number of days that you've been banking since we did the reset this morning. Keeping it fair for everyone. See you in the race to a million. Don't worry, we're still definitely on the lookout for the cheaters. So don't try and game the system to get there any faster. It will only end up hurting you in the long run. Cool. So that's what we've got with 0.7.1. Excited to get that out to everyone and see where we can go from there. Up next, we've got Kevin to talk about crafting and seasons. Take it away, Kevin.
Thanks, Jay. Awesome to see everybody. I know I missed the last one, and I was very sad about that, but really glad to be able to join you guys today. All right, let's talk seasons. You want to just go a bit to the next slide, Jay? So before we dive into seasons, I just wanted to take a beat to talk about crafting in general. Crafting is a really fundamental part of the overall gameplay. It's part of how the player-creator economy that we envisioned really works. It's the system that allows players to actually mint the game items for themselves and completely separate the demand, the supply, and the value of these items from even what us as a developer team can really control, right? So initially, when we launched crafting, we were just super excited to get the content out there so that the players could just start crafting and start getting their hands all over the system that we'd created. Going forward, we just want to make sure that there's more of a stable framework for releasing Web3 content, especially things around recipes and craftable items. As you guys might imagine, we have so many ideas in store. We have so many different asset ideas, toys, foods, items, other types of augments, other item types that we're going to be exploring today. So much stuff in the docket that we want to get out there, but we want to get it out there in an organized way that matches the other releases that are coming out during that period and fits the overall theme for that period, so that it's not just a hectic mess of releasing different recipes and items. So seasons will provide that framework. So ultimately, seasons at their core are about the builders of the Genoverse. It's about alchemists and making sure that they understand what the plan is for the next few months or whatever the period of that season may be. And it's our idea to run multiple seasons throughout the year, each one transitioning naturally into the next one. So that brings us to season 1, which is the official inaugural season of this whole framework. And Jay, if you want to take through, I'm happy to go through what we have in store for this upcoming first ever official season. All right, so first we've got definitely a selection of brand new augments and colors. Here you can see some of our new color combinations. So what we've done here is aesthetically, we've assembled a primary, a secondary, and an emission color here. And all of these different essentially palettes will be available for crafting in the new season. We're looking, you want to go through, so 5 new color combinations, 15 total new colors across Loom, Subsynth, and AdSynth. We've got also 16 brand new styles of augments. And if you kind of go through all of the different variants and craftable options, that means in total, 144 total new augments that can be crafted. In addition to the augments and the cosmetics, which I'm sure some of you are very familiar with, we're also just going to have 2 brand new craftable item types. If you want to tick through to the next slide, Jay. So what we're releasing with this inaugural season is 1 energy boost. Some of our earliest adopters and earliest supporters have gotten a taste of a very special type of boost, the alkali boost, which was released as part of one of the earlier treasure hunts. These are not going to be as powerful as that one, but they will be more readily available, and it's going to be a nice new item type that allows players to augment or supplement their energy gain. And then on the other side, textures is just a whole new element of the Genopet aesthetic that we're super excited to release. A couple new features, but maybe you want to just go to the next slide, Jay. We can dive into one of the most exciting parts of the season. So before this one. So I think you guys got a preview of the 2 new features, but okay. First, we can talk about true colors.
Sorry, the slide changing is totally rugging me right now. I don't know what's happening. I only clicked on it.
It's all right. We got plenty of time. We'll go through these one in an order. 1, true colors. All right. This is not a craftable item, but you might have noticed that a lot of what is being released this season is in the vein of new cosmetics, right? So new primary colors, new secondary colors, new light colors, textures to come. And so one of the pieces of feedback that we've received just throughout the course of having some of the cosmetics out there in the wild is that currently cosmetics, because they're a consumable item, you use them once, change a color, there's some concern or fear of not being able to go back to what your original colors were, or maybe experimenting with colors and ending up in a place you don't want to end up in. So to address that pain point and to try to give players more freedom and more confidence to be able to experiment with aesthetics, part of what's going to be released with this upcoming season is a true colors feature, which will allow the pet to always go back to its summoning colors, which were generated through the algorithm at the point of summoning. This might cause a little bit of confusion, I guess. If you were to summon a pet, change its colors, and then sell it. But we decided that the source of truth should be the colors generated at summoning by the algorithm, and that will now provide the baseline set palette for the pet that can always revert to if you find yourself not particularly liking wherever your pet has ended up aesthetically. Next slide. All right, here we go. So style set bonus. This is the other new feature that we're releasing along with the season 1 content. If some of you guys have a quick eye, you'll remember from the previous slide that showed some of the new augment styles that there was an Aviana set and a Jurassic set. What we're introducing now is, to date, all augments have been part of their own unique family. And a family is comprised of a style, which is the aesthetic style of the augment, as well as the part, which is the body part that the augment is meant to fit in. But each augment typically has had its own style that has not really transferred to any other part. We're changing that now, and we're releasing something called a style set, which is a set of augments that fit across different parts but share the same style, so that they're meant to be assembled as a collection. And once you do assemble them as a collection and equip them all, it will unlock an incremental special bonus that will be applied to the pet. The first iteration of this, which makes sense, is a very specific type of stat increasing bonus. So one of these style sets, here we're seeing the Jurassic one featured, would give you a pretty strong speed boost, which will be useful for step battles to come later down this summer if you're interested in that fitness competition. But other types of bonuses will be available as well. So this is just a fun little layer on top of the crafting game. Yes, you can craft new augments for yourself, but if you want to assemble a group of augments that can unlock additional bonuses, the style sets are what you're going to want to look at. And so just quickly going through with Jurassic on the screen as an example, you can see which are the parts that are part of the set. It's not every single part. I think the Jurassic part has 4. As you can see, some of the other style sets have 3. But here you can see what the actual parts are that are part of the set. So you've got the eye, you've got the wing, you've got the tail, and you've got the mane. And any pet that assembles these 4 augments and equips them simultaneously will be able to unlock the style set bonus.
Wanted to mention that Genesis augments is a set in itself, right, Kevin?
Correct.
Yeah, so there's definitely been a lot of question about the Genesis augments and stripping them, and what happens when I have a naked Genesis pet, or rather a Genesis pet that no longer has its Genesis augments. So this is one of the ways that we'll bring Genesis augments back into the picture, even though they don't have obviously a direct stat boost in the same way that some of the other augments have. Genesis set bonus, more details on that to be coming soon when we roll out the rest of the set bonuses.
Yeah, and just a quick note on Genesis augments in general. I know there's been some concern, or maybe just some general reflection on, okay, they don't have the stat modifiers that some of the other craftable augments do. What is going to make them special, especially when they don't have that modifying boost? And is their base stat growth enough to sort of keep them special and keep them a class apart? And what I'll say to that is, especially as it relates to battle, because I think that's where we're really getting to the meat of like the competitive value of these pets. It's always our intention to make Genesis pets special and powerful in their own right and not be disadvantaged by the fact that they have very unique parts. The style set bonus is definitely a piece of that. The other piece of this are the actual battle moves, which we are now uploading to our internal MVP to really start testing in a more automated fashion. The moves are unique to the augment. So each Genesis augment is going to have a completely unique battle move that can't be replicated from any other augment. And those moves will be more powerful than your standard moves that you're getting with your standard summon Genopet. So those are some of the ways that we're planning to keep Genesis Genopets special and a class apart. But of course, a lot of this will ultimately come down to balancing and testing to make sure all the numbers work right.
I think with that, Kevin, we have one more surprise about seasons. I feel like we needed like ominous music or something to land here. I don't know. It's just like
we need better transitions next time. But we'll
production quality is always getting better.
Yes. Some of this might seem like gibberish to the newcomers on the chat. Others, this is a familiar sight. This is to say and officially announce that we will be having a treasure hunt. It's our intention to have treasure hunts be one of the main events of each season. And for this season, it'll likely be in a couple months' time. We'll release more information as we go. But crafting the items of this season will give you an advantage and special rewards in the treasure hunt. So that's how we're trying to tie it all together. We know you guys love treasure hunts. We love making them for you guys as well. So this is a way to add them to the schedule in a more structured manner. Each season will be capstoned by a treasure hunt that sort of brings it all together.
I was waiting for RGY to pipe up in the comments. This is like probably the most. He likes treasure hunts more than playing Genopets. That's awesome. Really exciting, guys. I'm stoked for the treasure hunt. I know Alkali is going to be coming back with his crazy mind tricks. So looking forward to celebrating and participating in that one with you guys. That said, Season 1 officially will launch July 21st, 2023. So we got just about 3 weeks ready to show off everything coming. The Season 1 launch doesn't necessarily mean that's the date the treasure hunt goes live, just to make that clear. There will be treasure hunt during the season, but on season 1, crafting essentially will start on the 21st. You guys always hear me say no dates and don't ask me when. We're really excited for this one, so we're pinning a date and we're making it happen. Excited to celebrate it with you. Cool. So with that, up next we have Mr. Albert Chen, not sporting a hat today. We forgot to address that at the top of the town hall.
Yeah, I made the decision not to. I have to switch it up, you know.
With a dev update and all
Yep.
the things that we've been working on.
Awesome. Yeah. So we announced the road to market May 12th. If you guys remember, that was the last town hall. Time flies. It's been 6 weeks since, and as of 0.7.1, we are now at halfway point for the road to market. I'm happy to say that our dev team has hit a stride. So we're shipping very, very fast. The remainder of the road is also making really good progress. We're doing internal testing next week, and we'll probably start testing with internal with the community supporters soon there too. So everything's going pretty well here. Thanks for complimenting my hair. That made my day. Thank you very much. Yeah, so that's
You should have asked it in the form of a question so that you could have won a habitat.
yeah.
And to be fair, his day has only begun, so it's
Yeah.
not a huge.
Yeah, 0.7.1, as Jay's said everything about it, but the main roadmap item that's accomplished there is achievements, which is what we call it streaks on the roadmap graphic. So you can see that we're pretty much halfway there. Also, been internally testing IAP marketplace. It's going well as well. That's been taking the bulk of my time, so that's why my update's pretty short. Pretty short. I think we got 2 more slides for me, and that's about it. Yeah. Governance forum, we're slowly making progress on that. I know right now, if you are DNA, you are actively participating in it. We have a few proposals that have passed. The idea behind governance, to begin with, I think there's been a lot of back and forth discussion in the governance forum. I've said this on multiple occasions, and I'll say it again. The idea that the motivation for having governance isn't to just have every little proposal, or every little like idea for the game be proposed there and be voted on. It's mainly for the game to be maintained by the community as designed from the very beginning, which is like this is a game with an actual real world economy built in. So anything there we would like after it's rolled out, the settings are something that needs to be looked at constantly and updated when it's needed. So things one of the proposals that passed recently was the habitat restoration cost. So those are the kind of things the upgrade cost. And so those are the things that are really, really important for the community to know, to monitor and propose updates to, because you guys are just as close as us, if not closer, to the everyday experience of the player. So it's a really important part of the game. Yeah, so that is all the
Yeah, I think
updates I have.
I just want to double tap on that one, that like, things like the game settings, like how yeah, actually I'm not walking. I totally forgot to turn on the treadmill. I am standing on it, but it is not on. Wow, I totally bugged myself on the steps during town hall this time. Next, I forgot to turn it on. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, sorry, game settings. I think emphasizing that there's been a lot of conversation around the governance stuff. Eunice and I are both in there. Certainly, the whole team's in there. But a big part of this definitely is like analyzing what's happening in the market, and the habitat upgrade is a really important one. You guys can check out the proposal, or DNA members certainly could check out the proposal. But the way it was structured was like, economically, does this make sense? Is this the right thing for the players? Should we tweak game settings in these ways? Those are great examples of things that can be enacted and really discussed in the community, pulling from both player emotions and player data to figure out what makes sense. Certainly dreaming up new features and coming up with wild things that we can do to change the roadmap and make the game better is helpful and interesting, but oftentimes clouded with technical challenges and other things that make it a little bit more difficult to enact some of those types of proposals. Certainly open to that kind of discussion, but in the near term, at least, what makes the most sense is discussions around things like game settings and where we can go there. I think, Albert, one more thing you were going to add to this was, the DNA version of governance is kind of a pilot right now. We're testing out the process, figuring out how people are involved, but you are working on the actual gene staker on-chain version,
So
right?
the ultimate version of this is to vote based on your gene stake. That's the original design. The API is up. We'll have to get the Discord bot to start using it, but yeah, that's the first step. Once that's up, you can get into the governance form just based on your stake weight.
Awesome. Cool. With that, you're like, oh wait, wasn't Albert last? But there is one more thing. We're launching season 1, as Kevin just covered. Season 0, all the things that we've been crafting to date, is ending with a special promo. Kevin covered this a little bit, but there'll be a lot of new augments and craftable items, cosmetics, etc., created. But actually, with that, 70% of the augments and 50% of 3% of the cosmetics are going to disappear. We're pulling them out of the crafting recipe book. Essentially, you will not be able to craft majority of the augments and color combinations that you see today. There's a chance in the future maybe they come back, or maybe that's something the governance proposal can vote on. But the idea here is that seasons will represent a cyclical availability of the items that can be applied, that can be created in the Genoverse. So when season 0 ends in the next 3 weeks, season 1 starts July 21st, 2023. That will be the end of the season 0 augments, season 0 craftables. You have essentially 3 weeks to be crafting the remaining items. Additionally, all season 0 recipes have been made public. So you can go to the season 0, or you can go to your recipe book on Mainframe. You can see all the different recipes for things to be crafted. If you haven't crafted them yet, if you couldn't figure them out, if you were confused on how to do it, surprise, check out your recipe book, find all the things, figure out what you want to make, figure out what makes the most sense to make from a market standpoint. Shout out RGY in a recent announcement on Discord. There is a new community created crafting tool that you may all want to take a look at that shows what makes sense to craft and what the market's reacting to. An interesting part of crafting that I think some maybe more economically minded players are looking at is what's the market reaction to certain items being created. There's a lot of implications here, certainly from the way that the season 0 items are going away, sort of capping the supply for some of those items, as well as new items coming back in and having a fresh start, and how that'll affect overall market dynamics. We're really excited to see the concept of seasons play out. With that, one more thing. As I was analyzing, or we're looking through all the different items that have been created, we've got, just at a high level, right, 120,000 people play this game. We've got just under 150,000 items that have been created. So there is just barely one item crafted for every player in the game. Certainly you'll expect that over time people will be wanting to collect multiple crafted items. We've got, I think, 35,000 common augments, 12,000 uncommon augments, 3,000 rare augments. and just about 8,500 cosmetic crystals for all the color changing. You can check out a lot of this on the Flipside crypto dashboard that actually Mark in the community maintains. Shout out, Mark. We love your Flipside crypto dashboard. Find that link in Discord, or we could drop it later if anyone hasn't seen it. Covers all the crafting program stats. Really interesting sort of dynamic to look at with you know, size of the player base we are today, still in this earlier beta phase, and the amount of items created and where we're going with the seasonal release. But with that, especially on the cosmetic side of things, we're reducing prices for cosmetic crystals, and the creation of those adds and substance and loom crystals is actually going down to 15 key. You'll see the updates in your recipe book as well today when you start crafting more. But especially with the colors disappearing, we felt like, you know, we wanted to find some ways to really incentivize growth of colors and making people more excited about the changing of your pet and the color aspect there. So yeah, check that out. The season 0 promo starts now. Check it out. Go to mainframe and start crafting and see what's in store. You've got 3 weeks. DK, I told you might throw a table at me. I'm sorry. Number 4, Q&A. Let's go look at who's been dropping questions, and we will go from there. Let's find our winners. Remember, the first 5 questions we answer are going to be the habitat winners. We've got a little bit of time here. I thought our agenda was really long, but we totally ran through it. There are a couple other things, but yeah, we've got about 25 minutes for questions here. So we'll see what's coming through, and find some good questions to answer here. Pulling up my doc. Okay, let's start with the Twitter one. Malu on Twitter, Hunter FM Malu, we'll find you and DM you on Twitter, asked, will there be a plan for Genopets to learn special techniques and skills related to battle, for example, you know, from winning special tournaments and events? Similar to, you know, Pokemon trainers, now you can install different skills and techniques into a Pokemon. I thought this question was interesting because actually it's probably a better Kevin question than me, but feel free to dive in, Kevin. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look, the frank answer is it's a really cool idea, and it's one that we're considering. At the current time, though, the basic structure of progression is through parts, right? Through augments. So when you think about acquiring a new skill or a new move, currently the way you would do that is by acquiring a new augment that has a new type of move or ability or effect associated with it. And then the gameplay can be built around how you can discover new augments, find new augments, craft and upgrade new augments, recycle augments, and play with sort of the augment-based approach that we have. But if we can think of skills, especially skills that might live outside battle and maybe more applicable in like a solo play or an open world setting, I think it could be a really cool idea to lean into the pet training theme and just be able to teach your pet new things over time.
Yeah, I think maybe train or teach is a more Pokemonish type concept, but certainly augments essentially is the way that new skills and that sort of thing will be upgraded, added on to, connected to your Genopet. Malo, congratulations. We will reach out to you on Twitter. You are the first habitat winner of the game, of the town hall. Thanks. That was the question. Had to drop in the chat for it to show up. Good idea, Albert. Okay, the next one I was looking at that was really interesting. Will Genesis augments, and this was asked by Zanmato from GOE, will Genesis augments be strong enough to neglect the stat boost from regular ones? Will all these special movements have different, let me drop the question in the chat too, will all these special movements have different cooldowns based on power or ability? If you could bring that one up, Eunice, thank you. Yeah, I think this one is.
Yeah.
Look,
a
good Kevin question again. Yeah.
At a high level, it's not, and I assume neglect means negate. It's not really to negate the stat boost, right? It's not like Genesis pets are competing with other pets to see who is more powerful on paper. What we really want to create is the possibility for different styles of play. And for everyone, whether they have a collectible Genesis Genopet or a brand new free summoned baby pet, to feel like they have the opportunity to be recognized for the value and the strength of their pet, but also to explore and pursue whatever strategies or approaches to the game, especially battle, that they may have. You may have a stylistic approach, or you may want to play it a certain way. And we basically want to create a sandbox where players can assemble the kind of battle style for the kind of pet that they have. I think it's important to remember that this is really just the beginning of like all of this type of content. The augments that we released with what we sort of internally and playfully call season 0 are one type of augment with percentage based stat modifier boosts. That is not, you should not think of that as the norm. Like each season will have its unique set of augments, or at least a few new special types of augments that may be different. For example, there may be stat boosts in the future, but they're not percentage boosts. They're just absolute values. There may be other augments without stat boosts that just have better battle moves, or perhaps have other qualities that make them more interesting. So with all of this in mind, where do Genesis pets stand? We want them to be powerful. We want them to stand on their own 2 legs. We also don't want them to be static and boring. Like, oh, I just got a Genesis pet and I just do the same exact thing every battle, and most of the time I win. Doesn't seem like a very fun game, right? And so we want to make them special. We're making them special a little bit different from how the first craftable augments were released with the stat modifiers. Battle moves are going to be a big part of that. And each move has its own power rating, and there are a number of different effects and mechanics for these moves. Genesis augments will have some of the best moves and some of the best mechanics because they're so rare. And we're hoping to make them more powerful within battle in that way, rather than just kind of adding a bigger stat modifier bonus that just kind of is the same old hat as every other augment out there. Now, the final note, we got to test this. This is all about the balance of play. And as we all know, battle tends to be one of the most controversial. So, it's something that we're going to have to thoroughly test, but that's some of our thinking there.
Awesome. Thank you. Let me pull up the next one I saw that was pretty good. Actually, this is a very timely question from Rob Ja. I'm going to drop it in as well so we can bring it up. Will the crafting costs constantly be reconsidered? Inflation is a part of any economy.
This ties well with
it ties into a bunch of things and governance. The question is too long to paste at once, so I have to delete part of it and post it again. But just give me 2 seconds. Will the crafting cost be constantly reconsidered? Inflation is a part of any economy. If there's little demand for key, aka increase in supply over a period of time, this is effective crafting. Thank you, whoever's doing that, because I'm typing and reading at the same time and it's difficult. Is this a better? I guess this is kind of an Albert Kevin question. You guys go for it. I can chime in too, but yeah.
Albert, you want to go, or I can take it?
Kevin, go ahead and take it.
The short answer is yes. Crafting costs will constantly be reviewed and considered. Some of what we're trying to do with seasons is create a framework where we can look at this in a more organized way, right? Rather than every week someone wakes up and is like, is our key or is our token price at the right level? A lot of what we have in the works, such as governance and being able to propose things and hear things directly from the community, is tied to this, right? We want to be able to get the community's perspective. We want to be able to incorporate all of the different perspectives that we're seeing from the different players in the economy. Now, that's the short answer to whether crafting costs will always be reviewed and could be subject to change depending on what the real world situation is like and what the in-game situation is like. I will say, if there's little demand for key, the second part of this question around could the cost of crafting items be increased? Yes. And I think there have been certain, we did raise our crafting prices from the initial discount period when we initially launched crafting. Like you've seen examples of this. Broadly speaking, over the next few months, I think it's less about price control and supply control and more about can we try to beef up demand? And that is what the building out of the mobile app is going to be about. That's what the in-app purchase architecture is going to be about. Those are the two sides of the same coin that drive the value of the overall economy. And so while price controls and supply controls are definitely a big part of it, I think what we're most excited about right now is growing demand. And that's where you can see the focus of the roadmap is.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. I think, Albert, you're probably going to chime in as well with like, this is a great example of something that could be discussed and proposed on through the governance forum as well.
It goes directly into what I was saying earlier about the motivation of governance. And this is the kind of stuff that is constantly being monitored by us, but also by the merchants of the game, which is you guys. So feel free to propose things like this, when you see fit.
All right. I queued up the next one early because I had already seen it and liked it. Can we bring up the next question, please? For the market, I assume this is the marketplace. We're talking about the in-app marketplace coming at the end of Road to Market. Will you take the Magic Eden API and get it into the app? But from the app and Play Store, you can only buy things. We can only buy something like food, toys. Did I understand correctly? So this is a question around what's going to be able to be bought in the shop in the mobile app, and kind of how that's going to be bought and the way it'll surface back to Web3 players. I think this is a really important thing to emphasize and clarify, given those are our next few stops on the roadmap. You guys.
Yeah, I can take this question. So yeah, Magic, it actually came at a really good time for Magic Eden's API because I think prior to this month, their API required a private signer, so it was permissioned by them. But they recently switched to a permissionless design, so we can actually do this. So App Store, Play Market, this is not correct. We will start with simple things like food and toys, but the idea is that everything that you can buy in Magic Eden, you will be able to buy directly in game. That is the goal.
That is the goal. I think the other half of the question is, what else will you be able to buy in the market? When are food and toys going to exist? Are there going to be items that aren't from Magic Eden to buy? We're exploring all of that. There certainly will be some ideation and testing and open definitely to suggestions and comments about what you would like to see in the shop. Maybe we can start a proposal conversation around some of that within reason, of course. But yeah, that is one of the next things. Oh, I was just thinking that question to you. Cool. Yeah, that's one of the things I was thinking as well. Or glad we surfaced that one. I'm going to go to this question will be our last winner. So just to recap, we had Malu from Twitter, Zenmato from JUN Discord, Robja with the crafting cost question, and the Spasic question with the last or most recent one. Let's do one more. Our last winner coming in. Do you guys see a good question? Do you want to pick one? Okay, if not, then I'm gonna go with you because this question just dropped, and I actually really like this question because it's something we've been thinking about. Will we ever be able to separate the abilities and appearance of an augment? We don't want everyone to look the same with the same strong augments. I think that's a very valid point. Kevin or Albert, you gonna take this one? I know we have some things planned.
Kevin, is your audio working? I think Kevin's audio is not working right now.
That's okay. I think we could talk about this one at a higher level here, where basically that is kind of one of the, I don't know if it was a concern or just like one of the things we had thought about. I mean, I think there's a concept of this in a lot of other games too, where like, you want to use this item or equip this thing. You want to use this item or equip something, and you still want to get the effect of it, but you don't necessarily want the appearance of it. So we're looking at different ways for sort of the appearance or stats of your augment, or being able to hide augments and that sort of thing is kind of the direction I was going with this, Kevin. But I don't know if you think that's left field.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely in the docket. I just didn't want to like tease it when we haven't,
No, that's kind of
locked
the
it
point of
into
this,
it.
right? Like we haven't locked down exactly where this is going, but I do think it's a valid concern that a lot of people have been raising or discussing, is like, what does that look like if everyone has all the exact same augments? We don't want every pet to be the same, but yeah, I don't know. Just an interesting topic and something to kind of touch on and discuss as we close it out. But yeah, we still have a few more minutes. Happy to run other questions if people have other ideas, if you want, or have other topics. We can just keep rolling through here. I don't know if you guys are looking through the
Have we
questions and finding other ones.
answered 5 so far?
Yeah, we have. So those are gonna be the 5 winners.
Okay, cool. So from this point onwards, I think we'll just answer questions as is. I have a question that I saw earlier that I wanted to answer, which is what items carry over from season 0 to season 1? I'm a newbie just looking to purchase my first habitats. Kevin, I think you said you wanted to take this one.
Joe, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, it's what items carry over from season 0 to season 1, basically.
Yeah, so we'll be releasing the exact what items are departing from the recipes. At a high level, what's happening is that from the recipe, like from the current recipe flows that spit out, for example, when you craft an antenna augment or an ear augment using a reagent, there's 3 available styles. About 1 to 2 styles of each of those will be replaced by some of the new ones. I think some of the recipes for parts like wings and tails, all 3 styles are being replaced by new styles, some of which are part of the style set, some of which are just completely new, not part of the style set at all. So it's a bit on a case by case basis. I think most heavily cosmetics and augments are the ones that are being basically replaced, and their outputs are being replaced with the newer inventory. And then things like boosts and textures are going to be just brand new recipes to start.
Great. Another question that I see here is, are you considering more stats than the 3 that we see now? Yeah, I'm assuming the 3 you're talking about is speed, attack, and defense. There's HP also, and we're actually going to launch 2 more, I would say, hidden stats. One's called Bond and one's called Karma. Bond is based on how much you interact with your pet. Great. Yeah, thanks for putting that up. So Bond is for how much you interact with your pet, and it'll affect things in battle. And Karma is going to be an interesting one. We're still designing that one, but basically it is what it sounds. But how you increase it will be revealed later. The way that Karma will work is that it will affect any random anything that has to do with random generation. So like banking rewards, from banking rewards to like battles, random number generator effects. So that'd be interesting as well.
Yeah, I'll just add that there are also a set of secondary stats that are calculated from those 3 primary stats that are going to play into battle. So there's going to be other derivatives of these stats that are used in these different types of gameplay. But Albert covered the main other ones that we already have in the works, Bond and Karma.
Cool. I'm going to run through a couple other that we had looked up before. Someone new to Genopets, how do I get started? We will surface, there's an FAQ channel in Discord that's probably one of the best places to look for like the I'm new to Genopets, what do I do? Articles and videos. We will definitely re-amplify a lot of that information, announce again on the server. But definitely the articles on our website, the YouTube videos are putting out. Follow us on Instagram. We've got a lot of fun Instagram reels that talk about different concepts of the game. How would you go about owning a Genopet and joining the community? Certainly you're already here by being in the community on the town hall today, but joining the community happens in Discord. There's a lot more conversation happening there around the game and more depth and people to help you as you learn more in your journey through the game. As far as like getting a Genopet, certainly you can buy them on Magic Eden. You need to buy a habitat to get the earning side of the game. That's kind of some of the 101s on getting started. There's another one about the personality aspects of the pets. Was it based on something? I think it's I just thought this was fun. Like, will it come more into play than just hatching and the decks? That's one of the things that I think Ben originally sort of had this idea of, can we imbue personalities into the pet that you create? So the characteristics and attributes of the pet, and that description gets written is actually created based on what you answer with those questions. So if you answer truthfully, it should actually seem like something. It should seem like a description that sort of resonates with you. I don't know that it was based on Myers-Briggs. Do you remember that offhand, Albert? We'd have to go ask Ben that one.
No, it's not based on Myers-Briggs at all. It's based on.
I was inspired by Big Five.
Yeah, Big Five.
Big Five. Can I get an interview with Ben? You could try and reach out to him on Discord. I'm just curious who that is, or I just saw that question as we were talking about Ben. So I'm gonna answer the top question that just came in too. My poor beautiful baby didn't win a habitat. Nikki Boo. I'm sorry we didn't pick you as a winner. But you can definitely get them on Magic Eden. The most easiest, simplest thing to do is filter Magic Eden for brand new and choose a brand new habitat and just buy that. You can buy habitats that are used already. You could even buy a dormant habitat and restore it. You'd have to figure out, like, economically, if that makes sense, the amount of key required per store, how much lifespan's remaining. It's a little bit more complicated, kind of like if you were buying a used car versus buying a new one. But I would just suggest, going to Magic Eden and checking out the brand news on the supply. And certainly stick around in the community. We do giveaways quite often. So thank you for being here and asking questions. There will be more opportunities in the future. Brand new equals true. Thank you, DK. That's what we're looking for. Speaking of which, DK dropped a question as well. I think we should cover really quickly. Alkali color changing crystal, if you guys remember that from the first treasure hunt. Will alkali color changing crystal be able to choose season 1 colors? Because currently an alkali color changing crystal lets you choose which color you want. Is that something, I don't know, Albert, if you've even thought of that? I actually don't know the answer to that one off the top of my head.
Something that would be good to hear from your feedback, I think. My gut reaction is to say yes, because there aren't that many of these crystals out there anyway, and they will be they are consumable, so yeah.
Cool.
Probably.
We could talk about it more on the server. Maybe you should make a proposal either way. But I think the idea, is that we need to, we want to hear from you on that one. But yeah, the alkali color changing crystal is supposed to pick all the different colors. The
Right now,
person on the
just to make it clear on like a technical standpoint, right now it currently picks from all the colors that's available. It's not hard coded, so if you add a new color, it will be there. So by default, with the logic of the item, it should be there. So I think the discussion is, unless there are objections to it, then that's how it would work.
Cool. Alkali, all the colors. Elt Dragon, the person who's having trouble getting into Discord. I don't want you to be dead in the water. I don't know why you can't do verification, but I'll find you, or maybe Eunice, you can help him out and figure out why that's not working. Seems generally usually pretty straightforward to get in and verify, but that don't
We
know
could
what's going
probably
on
just
either.
if there's a problem with the
We'll just
emoticon.
assign him the verify role.
Exactly.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. That is, I guess, with a couple more minutes, we can roll through a few more of these. Bien Major, I don't know how to say your pronounce that properly. From Outcasters asked, will there be opportunities for player created content like user generated quests and challenges? I don't know. It's something that we've kind of always kind of circled around. You definitely want some of that. I think there are practical realities and like how we create a framework and infrastructure around that have made it sort of challenging to get started with. But I don't know if either of you have thoughts here on this
I
one.
do have thoughts. I think all of these questions are really great because it's if the answer is a pure yes or no, it's definitely a yes, right? Like having user generated content is something that we definitely want to be doing. Now, whether it's on our roadmap for the next 3 months or 6 months, probably not. One of the things that we've really started to do in the last in this year, and especially in the last 3 months, is just being hyper focused, picking one or two projects that we do every sprint that we conduct. We're going to continuously be doing that, but all of these ideas will go into the backlog, and every time we finish a project, we'll start looking at the next things to put on the backlog. This has been tremendously helpful in keeping us really quickly and really quick in shipping, and it's made all the difference. So just so everyone knows, when you ask these questions, most of them are going to be a yes, but probably in the future.
Yes, but don't ask when. Yes, but don't ask when. But also, like, you know, love the questions, but really, we want to hear from the community and everyone. Like, what would you want to see out of something like that? These are great discussions for game ideas and the other sort of channels in the server where a lot of these sort of bigger picture vision conversations come in. I'm going to speed run. I know we're about out of time in a minute, but there's a couple here that I think are really easy to answer. We should just cover really quickly. Mythical augments in the game. There is a mythical tab in the app. There will be mythical augments at some point, special events and prizes. Essentially, being where mythicals come from. Certainly look out for them, Limpwich, in the future as we keep releasing and growing the amount of items in the Genoverse. Differences between owning a Bitcoin baby if you already have a pet. Chumby, there's an article on Bitcoin babies. We can try and surface it or go look on the articles page of the website. The Bitcoin baby is certainly inscribed ordinals. First time anyone's got ordinals in game. If you've downloaded 0.7.1, you can see the ordinals now in the game. You'll connect an extra wallet to your account, but they are a baby with a unique texture and color that no one else will have. There is not a substantial stat boost for it compared to a Genesis Genopet, for example. But that's what's happening with the Bitcoin babies. And I think that was it. Did anyone else have any last final comments? Albert, Kevin, questions you've seen bubble up?
Well, so as an extension to what I was saying earlier, I saw some questions around like, is open world happening? Is tournament happening? The answer is yes for all of those.
Yeah, they're definitely there. Landscape mode. I don't know that we'll go landscape mode with the app. I think someone asked that too. I thought it was an interesting, random, specific question, or maybe that's not what they meant by landscape. Anyway, love you all. Thanks for being here. Happy Friday, whether it's Saturday for you already or your Friday's just starting like us on the West Coast. But appreciate you being here. Go download 0.71 as soon as you can get it. Remember, iOS, it's coming any minute now as soon as we get approved. Android is already in the stores. Race to 1 million, first 1,000,000 steps. We'll receive a Genesis habitat. And of course, everyone that gets everyone that gets to, I'm like totally blanking on the words to say right now as we're closing this out. Everyone that I'm going to bring up the competition slide again. Everyone that gets to the competition.
While you're doing that, JL is asking how long the crafting discount lasts.
It will last until the start of the season.
Yeah, so approximately 3 weeks from now.
Thanks. Yeah, crafting discount will run until season 0 ends. When season 0 ends, all those items will disappear. And that's when season 1 will start. The first, so step up your game, achievements competition. After you get 0.7.1, the first Genovian to reach 1 million will get a Genesis habitat, and anyone who achieves the persistence of a virtue badge in the next 10 days will get a limited edition toy. Remember, those steps are tracking anyways. The achievement progress is tracking anyways. So even if you haven't downloaded the app yet, don't worry. As soon as you do, you will see, upgraded the app yet, you will see your progress thus far. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks, guys. Till next time.
Bye.
Thank you.